This is it right here.
Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing?
That's a damn coaching mistake!
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no!
The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy Cooter coming at you!
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again!
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Greater Lansing and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, in studio today, the beautiful Spotlight facility, 105 West Allegan. Rob, I'm finding more and more people are just starting to get the hang of this, that we are on YouTube every day, that we are in studio. If you hit subscribe for free, you will get a message that we are coming to you visually as well as just the audio. Looking forward to that, and lots of ways to find us. We have a big show planned for you today. Lots to talk about. Tom Lang is in house. We'll have our weekly segment of The Long Drive. We have a very special guest from Southern California today. Steve Garvey is going to be joining us, talking about the Dodgers and the Tigers, and he knows a lot about Zaire Hope, as does our next guest. He knows a lot about everything connected to baseball, especially the Detroit Tigers, and yeah, he also knows a little bit about Dave Dombrowski and the Philadelphia Phillies. Talk about Gary Gillette. He is an author. He is an editor. He is a sabermetrician. He is a researcher. You name it, historian. Gary, what did you make of the Tigers at the trade deadline, kicking it back and forth? What would they do? What should they do? Scott Harris said the losses to Baltimore, especially the 10-9 loss after having a 7-0 lead with Tarik Skubal on the mound, it's kind of when he made his decision. But a lot of people didn't like the return for Tarik Skubal and Casey Mize, and especially in the case of Skubal, why did he make that 2 days early? What do you think?
Well, and by the way, I'm glad you left off prognosticator for my resume because I've been wrong on everything I said about the Tigers so far this year. So,
well, I'm going to give you full credit for being right on that. And I'm going to say that Scott Harris sabotaged your pick of the Tigers winning the World Series, and if Harris had just left Skubal and Mize there, you'd be a savant.
Yeah, I think not. And they're still, whenever I look at them, there's still four teams I got to climb over to get to the third wild card.
Yeah.
Which of course means they have to play an extra series at the start, as opposed to if they had won their division and had the second best record. And also they have no home field advantage that count on. So, I mean, it's really a tough road to hoe.
But they have Max Clark in the lineup now. That should solve all their problems, right? Not quite.
No, but it's exciting. I'm tired of watching the Tigers run out of the lineup in a black hole in center field.
Right.
A struggling former star and right.
Yeah.
A thoroughly mediocre player at first base who should be a bona fide cleanup hitter. A reserve catcher who was, frankly, not even AAA quality anymore. And mix and match at DH with guys like John Jones. Man, they were running out so many automatic outs in the lineup some days that it was really sad to see. I'm glad they brought up Valencia. I'm glad they brought up Clark.
Yeah.
I'm glad they made the trades.
Yeah.
I thought they wouldn't trade Casey Mize.
Yeah.
I thought they would hold on to him and hope for the best like they did when they traded Flaherty. But, apparently Harris feels he's got to restock the pitching at the top level. They really do need to restock it. So I got one legit prospect, not a great one, from San Diego for Casey Mize, and one Golden Dart aboard guy. And from the Dodgers, they got a very, very good right field prospect.
Yeah.
The guy I would wager will be playing right field full time pretty soon, like sometime next year.
Gary, we have heard that Zaire Hope is the Dodgers' fourth best minor league outfield prospect. If that is the case, what do they have at the top of that list? This must be like the minor league all-star teams.
The Dodgers system is just filthy rich. In fact, some people said he was the fifth best prospect, outfield prospect in the system. And this is the reason for people not to hate on the Dodgers. I know people are hating on the Dodgers.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, in this case, are trading the bounty they got from really smart trades and drafting.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trading money. They didn't buy Skubal for $50 million or something like that, or a broken-down major leaguer plus absorbing a bad contract.
Yeah.
They are doing this because they've outsmarted other teams. They got Zaire Hope by trading a guy who they didn't need anymore. He was a barely above average first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't going to use him in the future, and they turned it into a top outfield prospect. And that's the kind of thing good teams do. And remember the other thing is the Dodgers are drafting and developing talent. They're drafting at the end of the first round, the end of the second round, the end of the third round.
Right.
They're not drafting in the top 5 or 10 picks like the Pirates are and the Marlins and other teams. And like the Tigers had the benefit of when they had Avila running the team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't like the fact that Dodgers might win their third World Series in a row. I'm rooting against them. But I admire them for what they do. And Andrew Friedman, the president of baseball operations for the Dodgers, the Angels could use him, for the Dodgers, is just, really brilliant. Scott Harris was back into a corner because he didn't bring in enough talent in the offseason to overcome the Tigers' weaknesses.
Yeah.
And then that combination of Skubal's injury and that unbelievably bad May forced his hand.
They spent all his money on Framber Valdez, $38 million. You wonder what happened if he put some of that into the bullpen.
Yeah, I got to believe that Valdez is going to pitch better than this. He's not going to be. This is not going to be a disastrous contract. If it is, it'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
For the prior years, prior to his trade, he was very reliable. I mean, he wasn't Sandy Koufax, but he was a damn good pitcher and a left-hander and very reliable. So I have to believe this is just, a bad stretch. But the Tigers need pitching help. And in this case, Harris said no one was offering them Diddley or Gleyber Torres or Kenley Jansen, and I can see why on Jansen. Torres, I thought, would have had a market.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured the Tigers wanted to keep him because he's playing well. They wouldn't get much for him. And how you lead, he's a rookie. You don't know if he's going to go have a terrible stretch. And you don't know if you need him to play third base against left-handers, kind of thing. So I like the Skubal trade a lot. I'm okay with the Mize trade. I'm okay with them saying, we're not giving up, but we're playing for the future. Future first, 2026 second.
I want to go back to Framber for a minute, Gary, because I had the same idea you did. And I remembered Framber Valdez in the postseason when he was doing big things for the Astros. And so I have a couple friends who are around the Astros a lot, including one of them was a primary beat writer. And he said, be careful what you wish for with Framber. He's not quite all there. And I said, come on, you can't argue with the statistics. He was an all-star in 2022 and 2023. And then he slid a little bit. And last year, he was 13-11. His ERA rose. It still was decent or respectable. It was under 4. But his WAR dropped considerably, down to 3.5. And it seems to me that's a lot to pay for a guy who's going to be in the lineup every fifth game, and his WAR is only 3.5 better than an average player.
Right, a replacement player, not even an average player.
Replacement player, correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. On the other hand, he, in the previous 5 years, not counting this year,
Yeah.
he, had an average WAR of 3.4.
Uh-huh.
He went 13 or 14 and 8 if you round off the numbers, and he took the ball. He had an average of 21 starts per year.
Mm-hmm.
And God knows one of the things the Tigers need is a good pitcher who takes the ball. Although I freely admit, as of now, he's a disappointment. I just don't think it's going to turn out to be a terrible signing.
Yeah.
But as far as the amount of WAR you get for the bucks you get, the amount of money you have to spend to win a game with a starting pitcher is unbelievable.
Yeah.
For baseball.
Yeah.
Absolutely obscene.
Do you think the Tigers obviously they realized that they were not going to be able to re-sign Tarek Skubal. There was an offer made, according to The Athletic, this is back 2 years ago, of a 4-year deal worth $75 million. Okay, that's $17.5 million a year. That's less than their insulting offer in arbitration. And Scott Boras, when he was done laughing, said, we're talking about maybe 8 years, and, you're nowhere near even being in the conversation. So the Tigers realized that they weren't going to be in that stratosphere. But what do you think it's going to cost to re-sign Casey Mize? You look at, they're going to have Flaherty's money back, right? If they don't re-sign him, that's a lot. Eventually.
Let's hope they don't.
Yeah. At some point, eventually, they're going to get that albatross of Javi Baez contract off their back. Plus, they're going to have over $30 million of the arbitration judgment that they're paying Skubal. So they're going to have money. Why could they not have given some of that to Casey Mize and re-signed him?
And I think the answer to that is probably Mize is going to go for more than they think he's worth, given his very checkered history.
Okay.
I mean, people like Casey Mize. He has the potential to be a number one starter.
Yeah.
I'd say realistically you'd want to count on him to be a number three starter if you could, or number two.
He was an all-star last year, and he's having a better year this year. You could say he's having a better year than Skubal.
Yeah. But I think people look at his overall track record. I would say that Mize's market and how much he gets is probably going to vary on how well he pitches in it.
Okay.
And in the postseason.
Yeah.
If he lights up the scoreboard and the radar guns and, wins 75% of the decisions, including a couple of postseason wins, he's going to get a lot of money. If he has another injury or if he pitches, his record is 500, he'll get less, but he'll get a lot more than we'll ever see in our life. Either way.
Gary, you might know this, and if you don't, it sounds like the kind of thing, Rob, that Gary Gillette would want to dig into. And going back 100 trade deadline.
I'm getting a research assignment.
Yes. Going back the last 100 trade deadline deals or the last 500 trade deadline deals, depending on what you and your crew would want to tackle here. Do you think the buyers or the sellers have won more often?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I would say that the sellers more often win.
Okay.
Because they're going to get a lot of future value for present value.
Okay.
And the present value is both not guaranteed. Of course, the future value isn't guaranteed either.
Right.
But I think they get a better haul in future value than the teams that acquire present value for the next 2 months.
There's a saying in the NBA, Gary, that you want to get the best player in the trade. And if it's a 1 for 3, you want to get the 1. And the chances of all three hitting are very slim. I'm wondering if it is the same in baseball. Everyone around here keeps talking about John Smoltz, right? And we know what can happen if you trade a prospect. Roberto Clemente was once a member of the Dodgers organization, right? There are other players, Pete Cross, there are a lot of players who have been somewhere else, and then they bloom, they emerge. But I guess I'm curious to that, and I'm not so sure. I was just going back through maybe 20, 25 deals in my mind, and I think it's pretty close. Maybe the buyers have done better, and when they do better, and it leads to a pennant or a chance at a World Series, then the upside on that is greater than what you would find with a player who suddenly comes out of nowhere, a prospect, and maybe he's the second or third player in a deal and he becomes an all-star.
Yeah, and that's true. But the thing is, of course, a World Series now is worth 5 times the future value of any guy.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that the way the playoffs are set up, even if you win your division,
right,
or you get in the wild card, you're not likely to win the World Series. The Tigers, I don't know what they are now, but let's say they're a 28% chance to go to the postseason, a 30% chance. There's still only less than a 5% chance to win the World Series.
Right.
I will tell you, if you go to the World Series and you play at least 6 games, you're not wiped out, or embarrassed like the Tigers were in 2006 and 2012. Absent those kinds of wipeouts, you've had a hell of a year.
Yeah.
And the knock-on effect, the ticket price increases, the memorabilia sales, parking $10 a spot.
That's right.
You make $20 probably to $30 million extra profit the next year.
That's right.
And then another $20 million the year after that, and $20 million the year after that. It really has a knock-on effect that lasts for years, especially with teams that aren't perpetual winners. They aren't in the playoffs every year. Like the Braves showed that if they're in the postseason every year, but you don't get to the World Series very often, people get like, well, let me know when you win the LCS and go to the World Series. The Tigers, of course, aren't in there. Tigers fans are really hungry. I don't blame them. I think this is really the acid test for Scott Harris.
Yeah.
He's very smart. He's made a lot of smart moves. But this year, they didn't pay off. He ate humble pie in the press conference yesterday.
He did.
He ate a lot of humble pie.
I give him credit for that.
I think he didn't eat.
Yeah.
I give him a lot of credit for that. I do. Some of it I think was a little bit overreaching. That he was trying to deflect attention from the team. The team has to bear audience. It's not the players, not the coaches. No, A.J. Hinch hasn't been at his best this year.
Right. And
the coaches can't be standing up and saying, hey, I did a really good job. And the players have to take some of the blame.
Sure.
But this is the acid test. If he doesn't thread the needle, the Tigers don't go to the postseason and at least get to the league championship, at least get past the division series this year, and this trade better be the cornerstone of the new Tigers in 2027, or if they don't have a 2027 team, the 2028 Tigers, where they're going to be in the postseason for 5 years running, go to the World Series once or twice, hopefully win one, battle into the LCS 3 or 4 times. Without that, I'd say, all of his careful planning and prospect courting would be a failure. Right now, he's on the bubble, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The thinking here, and Harris said, he went kind of back and forth on this. He wanted to give these guys chances to prove that they could do it, despite no bullpen upgrades, and people knew in the offseason that was something they needed. They thought maybe they could do it. You get Kenley Jansen. Good luck with that. But I look at where the Tigers were on June 1st, and I'm going to write off the month of May. Okay, it's hard to do because they're still 4 games under 500, but they have the 3rd best record in baseball since June 1st, behind the Red Sox and the Brewers. So if you look at what they have done in that period of time, and now getting healthier, getting infusions from the minor league, if Valdez can right the ship at all, now, if you make the playoffs, and they're only 2.5 games out, okay, 5.5 behind the White Sox, but 2.5 behind the Guardians of the last playoff team. If you can get in, and you have Skubal, and you have anything close to what Valdez was supposed to be, and they've gotten great work out of Troy Melton. So if they could do something like that, wouldn't they have a chance in a 7-game series? Gary, they went into Tampa Bay and swept the Rays, and last time I looked, they were the best team in the American League.
Yeah, and that was really impressive. And at that point, you wanted to think that they really were going to go to the postseason.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, the performance against the Orioles was pretty shabby.
Yeah.
In fact, the reports are that that's when Harris made his decision to sell.
Yeah.
Was after the Orioles game where they had a 7-0 lead and blew it. And I remember I wasn't watching that game. I was traveling, but I remember looking at the game in the 6th or 7th inning and then seeing the final late. I thought, oh my God, this is the revenge of not bolstering the bullpen with a bona fide major league closer, and that means bona fide right now, not in the past. Jensen has been one of the greatest closers in baseball history.
Yeah.
But he's at the end of his travels, and that's why the Tigers could get him for essentially nothing.
The Rams were able to acquire Joe Namath, and the 49ers were able to acquire O.J. Simpson. The problem was you didn't recognize either of those players by the time they got there. And maybe that's a little bit insulting to Kenley Jansen, but not too much. I would rather have seen, even if they wanted to go halfway and get prospects, but keep one of the pitchers and try to fortify the bullpen and see where that would take you. They have lost 18 games, Gary, 18, Major League high, when they have led in the 7th inning or later. Texas has lost 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you, but Scott Harris says, and I believe him, he's not a bullshitter.
Yeah.
He's not a guy who says things that to try to deceive you. That the price for mediocre to good relievers was insane. And so, like last year, they chose not to go for a current major league closer. And, of course, last year, that cost them a lot. Kyle Freeland came over here and pitched extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a bona fide major league closer. He lost that job in Washington. What they really need to do is go get Daniel Bednar from Pirates.
Yes.
Who had a hell of a run with the Yankees last year. And last time I looked, was pitching really well this year. Let's take a look here.
I would go this far, Gary. If the Tigers had a Cade Smith or someone like that, right? Josh Hader. If they had a player like that, I'm not talking about Mason Miller, but the next level of closer, they'd be in first place in the Central Division, and they'd probably be the 3rd best team in the American League.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, I was in Cleveland last weekend for the site American Baseball Research Center. I went to an Indians game, and of course, they blew it.
Mm-hmm.
They lost the game that they should have won.
Right.
But yeah, Cade Smith, and the scary thing is, the Indians have Cade Smith. They lost Emmanuel Clase.
Right.
For nothing, not even to an injury because of the betting scandal. And I presume Clase is banned for life. I hope so if the reports are true.
Yeah.
But then they have Cade Smith waiting to step into his position. I mean, the lesson of Major League pitching in the 21st century is not that you can't just have enough. You can't have enough. But you need to have guys ready to step in for the stars that you think you're not going to lose. And the Tigers just haven't had the ability to do that.
What other deals at the deadline, Gary, impressed you? What teams really helped themselves?
Well, I was thinking that your engineer there, your producer, excuse me, probably pretty happy with what the Red Sox did.
Yeah.
Is that not true?
Yes, should be. What do you think?
Yeah.
You okay with that, Rob?
Yeah, I wasn't disappointed with what the Red Sox did.
How many teams get 2 catchers in the same trade? Come on. That doesn't happen.
I mean, that's the one I focused on.
Yeah, you scratch your head a little bit on that one. I most certainly did. And obviously the all-star catcher, the number 1 overall pick from a couple of years ago, is injured. But, yeah, you don't see that every day for sure.
How about the Padres? Not just getting Casey Mize in the last minute, but also getting Robbie Ray. And I remember when the Tigers had Robbie Ray, and there was a debate among some media members whether Robbie Ray was ever going to amount to anything. But he's been pretty good. And watching what he did with the Giants, I think a lot of teams would love to have had him. So that's 2 big arms at the top of the Padres' rotation.
Right. Yeah, I mean, A.J. Preller keeps plundering his farm system.
Yeah.
But as long as the Padres are competitive, and of course he's got the toughest job because he's trying to compete with the Dodgers every year.
Right.
It works. He's very aggressive and fearless in making risky trades.
Yeah.
Of course, the Dodgers did really well. So did the Red Sox. So did the Cubs.
Yeah.
And the Padres. I would say the Phillies the reviews from the all the Phillies moves are pretty good.
Luis
But
Arise, right? They got the second baseman that gets on base all the time. Yeah.
Because the problem with the Phillies is a typical problem for Dombrowski team.
Yeah.
They can't play defense.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper didn't move to first base because he was a good right fielder anymore.
Right.
And Luis Arise isn't highly valued because he's not a good defender.
Yeah.
He can hit, although without power, but if he were a good infielder, a good second baseman, he wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah.
And so the Phillies are going to move Harper back to right field. I believe put Arise at second
base.
Their second baseman to first base, and move their second baseman to third base, and move Alec Bohm to first base.
So they're going to be worse than four
That's a lot
positions.
Yeah.
Defensively.
Yeah, they could be. But this is Dave Dombrowski with the 2008 Tigers.
Yeah.
Well, the bats are going to make up for the defensive lapses. Didn't work out so well then.
All right. Last question for you, Gary. I got to ask you about something I saw last week. And I was in Chicago for Big Ten football media days. And my friend Paul Shaheen worked it out. We had 4 tickets, and Haley and her friend Eric were there with us. So we went to Rate Field, right? And by the time we got there and got parked and got into our seats, Yankees led 4-0. And people were saying, oh, geez, here we go. And White Sox just kept plugging. Eventually, they got back-to-back home runs. They tied it. The Yankees had a pickoff play and threw the ball into the outfield. Lots of crazy things happened. And the White Sox wound up winning the game in 12 innings, right? You would have thought they had won the World Series. And so the next day, they did the same thing. And they beat the Yankees again in extra innings. Are the White Sox for real?
Well, you asked somebody who especially looks like me and is always wrong this year about predictions. And I said they didn't have the horses in the second half to stay where they are.
Yeah.
Apparently they do. I mean, unless they completely collapse in the next 6-7 weeks, they've done extremely well. And the White Sox fans are starved for this, and good for them.
Right.
Rate Field, when it was built, was a terrible ballpark.
Yeah.
All the many, many modifications they made over the years, it's a decent place to watch a ball game.
Yeah, yeah.
And given all the attention and all the love lavished on Wrigley Field and Cubs fans, it's nice to see long-suffering White Sox fans have something to cheer for.
Yeah, I would agree. And now they also picked up Luis Castillo, right? I know he's had kind of a tough year, but
right.
He's won games before. I wouldn't mind going down the stretch run with him on the mound if I were the White Sox. So maybe that'll help a little bit. Gary, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. I hope we can talk to you several more times before the end of the season.
Okay, Jack. Always enjoy being on the show. Thank you.
Gary Gillette, a baseball historian. Rob, you go back with Gary Gillette to the days with Earl Robinson, right?
Yeah, he was one of the first and very consistent guests that Earl had on. I think he might have been my first my first call ever for Earl's show was with Steve Mariucci.
Yeah.
And then I believe the second one was Gary Gillette.
When we talk about consistent guests, there's no more consistent guest than the guy who's waiting outside here in the lobby. Tom Lang will be with us. And we're going to be talking about the Rocket Classic. We're going to be talking about the U.S. Amateur and much, much more coming up on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graf of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success. Check out our latest episode. We're joined by Michigan State basketball players Andre Hudson and David Thomas to discuss their playing careers and also being parents to elite athletes. Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Straight down the middle.
Welcome back. It is the Drive with Jack Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with Tom Lang, Mr. MIGolfJournal.com. A guy who has more places, golf courses, tournaments in the summer than anybody I know. Tom, Rocket Classic last week, and if that is the end, if no one takes it over, it won't be the Rocket, obviously. It might still have the tournament but under a different name. Pretty impressive 8-year run.
I think it was. I mean, they got through COVID. They got through a different round of Canadian wildfire smoke.
Yeah.
They had some real well-known players win, like Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
And less known, who just won it, Michael Thorbjornsen.
Yeah.
Who I assumed was just somebody from Europe, but he was born in Cleveland.
Yeah. Played
it's
at
just
Stanford.
a family name,
that.
I guess. So
yeah.
I don't know much about him, but
first win, right? 2024, I think. But I remembered the name because I knew someone who had a name very close to Thorbjornsen, but it wasn't related. So I remember looking him up at one point. But he had a 63, right? The final day.
Either 63 or 64. He definitely charged up the leaderboard.
Yeah. He had a couple of shots, though. He had that chip in, which looked like a Tiger Woods fluff shot, just went up. And
sure,
you wonder if it was going to make it, but it did. And then it just so casually fell in the hole. And then that putt that had the, looked like a question mark. It went one way, and then it had a big hook on it at the end.
Well, I missed that because I'll admit I was following Ricky Fowler quite a bit. I was not watching it on TV. So.
Yeah.
But there were a bunch of huge crowds out there. I don't know if they broke a record because PGA Tour has never announced their attendance, even going back to when I was doing Ford Senior Players in the 90s.
Why is that?
I don't know if it's expectations or what, but they've just never wanted to announce their attendance. But I talked to Mark Hollis afterwards, and he said all of their measurements of food and beverage sales, merchandise sales, all that stuff was like double of any other year.
Really? That was a great field.
And maybe it was because it was the last one. People were buying the logoed stuff. But they had the best field ever. It was just a lot of fun to watch. I went on both Friday and Sunday, and both days were filled with more fans than I remember on prior Fridays and Sundays.
Xander Schauffele made a move, and I said, okay, that's what it's going to be. And then, some other guys didn't go away.
Yeah. I mean, there's just something about that back nine at Detroit Golf Club that can really create crazy scores.
Do you know Justin Rose, the news guy, the reporter, not the golfer?
Yes.
Yeah. So he posted some things yesterday. He and some buds went out and played it.
The Monday after. I saw it too today. Yeah.
From the back tees.
Yep.
Justin's a good player. I've seen him play. He's very good for a media guy. And I don't know, he said his handicap was down 1.5, something like that.
That was one of his playing partners.
Oh, okay.
I think Justin's probably around a 4 or 5, I think.
Okay, that sounds right. That sounds right. But, these guys are coming in 20 over.
Mm-hmm. And they were still only on the 17th hole at the time. They had another hole to play.
Well, when you played it for Media Day, you weren't playing the tips.
Oh, no, not at all.
No.
You'd
still be out
tees. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what do you think you would have shot had you been out there with Justin Rose in that group?
For the tips?
Had you broken 100?
No, absolutely not.
No.
I shot pretty decent because we played the Pro-Am, and so we played a shamble. We could use the best drive on every hole, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I did score decent, but you never know what it really is in a shamble. So.
Right. So what will it mean to the state of Michigan? You talk about possibly 3 tournaments disappearing or 2.
Right.
What will it mean for golf in the state?
Well, the near future looks like we're down to the LPGA events. Wow. I mean, with the Rocket Mortgage Classic leaving, ironically, its last day was on August 2nd, and so was
August 2nd.
Yeah, so was the Buick Opens disappeared on August 2nd as well, and I think it was 2019, sorry. The LIV event at St. John's, somebody there admitted recently there's been no build out. They haven't been told it's officially over, but there's been no build out of suites or grandstands or nothing, and that event's supposed to be like 3 weeks away. And those things take over a month to do.
So it might not happen.
Right. And the Ally Challenge is good and strong and well attended, but they don't have a contract for next year so far. So there's no guarantee that one's going to be back.
So how many companies, corporations, Tom, nationally are trying to get into the golf business? Is there any kind of a waiting list to get an event, or are they struggling to get sponsors for these events?
I think the tour is close to getting all the sponsors they need for their signature events, because if somebody's going to invest, they're going to invest big.
Do you think the tour cares if there's a Rocket Classic or there's an event in Michigan?
I personally don't think they do.
They don't care.
They should.
They'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, they should care. Michigan is an incredible golf state, as we all know. The fans really support all of our events. I mean, the Meyer LPGA, people might say, LPGA, no big deal. But the Meyer event is always the top attended event every year.
If this event was as well attended as it seemed, right? And CBS was all over it. CBS has really done well by the city of Detroit with this.
For sure.
The infomercials. If there were that many people interested, what are the odds that some other Michigan-based company will come in?
I think the odds are decent, probably at least 50-50, because a company that would do that would do it because they want to support Michigan and support Detroit area and keep the run going. It's very disappointing to the fans if the PGA Tour leaves. It was when the Buick Open ended after 50-plus years. That was just an amazing run.
You know what would be an absolute hoot?
What's that?
You know, Dan Gilbert and Matt Ishbia don't get along, right?
From what I hear, that's correct.
They're constantly butting heads. It's amazing.
Yeah, they're competitors.
They're both associated with Michigan State and Breslin Center.
True.
But, that's the power of Tom Izzo. But wouldn't it be wild if UWM came in, swooped in, and took that over?
I could see that happening just to stick it to them.
Yeah.
kind of a thing. But
right.
The trouble is the company has to decide, do they want to be a second-tier event? That's what.
Could they build it up to a maybe not close to a major, but a more established mid-tier event?
Well, from what I'm understanding of how the PGA Tour is going to operate starting next year is you're either a $30 million price tag signature event or you're in that 12, 10, 15 million range,
right?
Which is where the Rocket was.
Yeah.
Their purse was 10 million. Mm-hmm. The winner got 1.8 of it. And it's just not going to get the best place on the calendar,
right?
Which was part of Rocket's problem. They never got a consistent place on the calendar. They never, not never, but rarely got a good location when it comes to attracting the best players who might be resting for a major, or they just got done with a major and they're tired or
so
whatever.
Why were they able to get such a good field this time?
I think that shows the great sports towns that we have here in Michigan, Detroit, and elsewhere that support this. And people knew it was going to be the last one. And great names came in. This is the best field they've ever had. Hollis said they didn't increase their appearance fee budget for doing the side things that they pay golfers to come in and do. They just opened their ears more and listened to the players, listened to the players' wives, find out what they wanted that would attract them here. The other thing Hollis told me was his team was almost brand new this year. So Rocket Mortgage took the tournament planning in-house away from a professional planning group that did it the first 7 years. And he said the assignment I gave my people was open your ears. Listen to what Detroit Golf Club members are telling us. Listen to what the public's telling us. Listen to what some of the sponsors are telling us. And they made changes that just made it so much more fan-friendly, and they promoted that enough that people realized it. And then when you see people like Jordan Spieth and others commit, I think the fans really appreciated that, and they wanted to come out.
Tom, how much do players talk about, hey, you know what, you got to come to this event. This is a great event. We had a blast. It was well-run, all the things they're looking for. And how much would the PGA Tour look at that and say, maybe we ought to do something to make sure there's an event in Michigan?
Right. It's my understanding they talk a lot. And the wives. The caddies will talk and say to each other and say, convince your player to come. This is a great event. They take care of us so well.
Yeah.
There's little things like that. I think there's even a tournament in Ohio that supposedly has the best milkshakes, and that's like the best draw for the players, ironically. But there's definitely talk. There's definitely support. If there's a Ricky Fowler type that represents Rocket Mortgage, like he does, he'll talk to his buddies. So,
well, we have a guest on the line, someone who probably going to have some players soon, who will be out on tour, and people will be watching them the way we talked about the players at Rocket. You want to do the introduction on Casey Luban?
Yeah, we've got MSU coach Casey Luban, and we invited him on today, and he knows why. He's got 3 players. One's a recent grad, but 3 players from his program that are playing next week in the U.S. Amateur.
Wow.
How's it going, Casey?
It's going well, guys. How are you?
You're going to be U.S. Amateur University here if you get another championship, Casey.
I tell you what, I like the way we've been trending. Obviously, with Caleb having been in the Sweet 16 2 years ago, and Ashton with Sweet 16, and then a winner 5 years ago. Hopefully we can make another run here.
No doubt. Now, the 3 people are McCoy Biaglo. He's a 2-time Michigan Amateur winner, and he won the most recent one, and that's why
we had him on, Biagioli, right?
Yeah, that's why he's exempt into this event. Lorenzo Pinilli, who played, I think, three years ago in the Amateur, the 2023. And then Caleb Bond, who won the Michigan Amateur last year, and that got him his exemption, but this year he earned it in a qualifier. So he's 2 in a row, and the other 2 have played twice. So what does that say for your program? Jack and I were just talking about, do PGA Tour players talk to each other? Do the college kids talk to each other on things like that and where to go?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the qualifying system for the U.S. Amateurs is very different than it was, 4 or 5 years ago. Now there's 2 sites, so you got to play well, 2 different golf courses, and keeps going up the level. But I think when your teammate wins a U.S. Amateur or your teammate wins and gets in the Sweet 16 and you play with them every day, a lot easier to think, wow, I can qualify and go play well in a U.S. Amateur because I can beat that guy when we're at home. And I think it's been a little bit infectious that way. I think one of the neat things about qualifying for U.S. Amateur is the venue. And obviously this is one of the special ones to get to go to Marion. And so I'm hoping these guys can go enjoy it, but also show how good this program is and how deep it is.
Should I assume that you will be there?
I am not. My assistants are going. I'm going to be in Scotland recruiting. We have three guys committed over there for the next 2 classes. So I'm at the British Boys, which is their equivalent of the U.S. Junior Amateur in Europe. So if one of the guys is making a run, then I'll have to jump on a transatlantic flight and get back to Marion as fast as possible.
Is that hard or easy to do? Jump on a transatlantic?
It's I go to Scotland 2 or 3 times a year, so I get used to it after a while. But hard timing wise, because I'll be watching scores when it's morning time for me, and they'll just be finishing up and having to decide if I need to get back. So good problem to have, though, if one of the boys doesn't.
So, Case, when your team has played at St. Andrews, and you've been over there as often as you have, people there know Michigan State University. They probably know Spartan Golf, but do they really understand what MSU is?
Yeah, definitely. Our field hockey coach, our previous field hockey coach, Helen Null, she's from St. Andrews. Our brand is huge. It's global. 600,000 alums and fans all over the world. So, yeah, absolutely. You'll get a Go Green even in the Edinburgh airport, which is one of the traditions of going through an airport in this job is there's a lot of Go Greens and Go Whites. So I've been over there, got to know a lot of people, and we're looking at starting an event in Ireland in the coming years. So we're going to continue to, as long as the bosses allow, continue to bring the team over there so they can have this experience.
Yeah, and we brought you on, obviously, to talk about how great the MSU program's been performing in recent years. But in all fairness to the listeners, we should let them know there are 3 more guys from Michigan, who I'm sure you know quite a bit about, who are also going and earned their way in. Ian Jones, he plays at Harvard. He's going into his senior year. Okay. And he was the Division I state champ in high school at Ann Arbor Skyline. A young man named Remy Stalkup, he is from Lake Orion. And he recently moved from Saginaw Valley State to Moorhead State, but he won a couple of state titles as well. And then one of the big studs for sure is PJ Maybank. He plays at Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. He's going into his senior year already. I can't believe time has flown. Can you, Casey? But
it's crazy. I remember his recruiting process. It felt like it was 2 weeks ago. But, Michigan is having a good summer overall.
Yeah.
A lot of players from this state playing well. Will Preston from Penn State played well at the Michigan Open. So I think we're kind of getting our mojo back. I thought the level of competition had dropped in the state for a couple of years, but boy, this summer it's been fun.
Is there a reason for that you can pinpoint?
No, it's a more of a national trend, right? So when people ask about going over to Europe recruiting, and we always want to focus on Michigan first, right? That's how we built the program. That's always how we're going to build it. But the challenge is, when the Olympic announcement came out in 2012, they were going to play Olympic golf. Almost every country that cares about Olympic athletics put money into golf. The U.S. did not, right? We're just starting to have these national. Michigan's going to have a U.S. national team program. Mm-hmm. All of these kids, when we recruit in Europe, they're being trained by their government from a young age. They got the best coaches. They got physios. They got mental coaches. They got. I always joke there's a reason Europe wins the Ryder Cup a lot. It's not a fluke, right? There's so many good players. When I go to the British Boys, there's 244 players. I think 150 of them play Division I college golf. They're just a lot deeper. So I think America, as we start to train kids better and stop relying upon parents to do all that training, we'll get back to being dominant.
Case, Tom and I were talking before the segment about the international flavor of collegiate women's golf, and it is so strong. And do you expect a move in that direction with the men's programs?
Yeah, you're already seeing it. I think we tracked this at the Folds of Honor last year. I think 39% of the field was international already. It's just a lot easier for programs, because one of the things that happens is kids don't really know the schools in Division I and Big Ten and SEC. They know where they're going to get the best opportunity financially, and so a lot of European kids will just go where they get a good deal, and that brings a lot of other schools into the mix. If you're Eastern Michigan, and you're recruiting against Michigan State, that's a tough battle. But in Europe, it doesn't really matter.
No,
it's just so explore.
Look, we're having a little trouble, Rob.
You're in the hunt.
There we go.
We lost you for a second, but you're back now.
Oh, sorry. 150 Division I men's teams are in the hunt now because we're just deeper across the board. That has been European and international recruiting has been a big part of that.
You mentioned the Folds of Honor Collegiate. That's coming up pretty soon in about 4 or 5 weeks in September over at American Dunes. What kind of planning and prep are you doing for that, or is that all done, or what can people expect?
Oh, it's great. Obviously, this is year 5. Last year, we had huge numbers on Golf Channel, 1.3 million unique viewers each day on average. It's exploded into something I could have never dreamed of, but we're getting close to wrapping up the details, and a huge field on both sides. Both the men and women's tournaments are deep with some of the best teams in the country. Obviously, Florida State and Arkansas and Alabama and Texas, just to name a few. So here's my hope, and this is being selfish a little bit. I think it's a bigger deal nationally, maybe than it even is in Michigan. I'd love to see more people. I know it's Labor Day weekend, and that's an up north weekend, and the kids starting school kind of time. But it starts on Labor Day and goes Tuesday, Wednesday after. I just hope more people get over to Grand Haven and check it out because it is the coolest thing we do all year.
I go every year, and I love it. That's for sure. Do you know if Do you know if Jack's been invited? And I don't mean the one across the table from me, but the Jack.
Yeah. He has been invited. I don't know if they made a decision yet about him coming. It's getting a little harder to get him around, at least just for a day. But he's on the conference calls. He obviously has a lot of opinions on how he should play the golf course from a setup standpoint, which we love. And he's wildly supportive of not only Folds of Honor, but Dan Rooney, the founder of Folds of Honor. It's like a second son to or a fourth son to him, I guess. So he's actively involved. We'll hope to see him this year, but either way, we're going to have a great event.
We know that you have the makings of a terrific team with the golfers you have back. Do you have international travel planned for your team?
Not this year. We're taking a year off. We've been to Ireland and Scotland the last 2 years, so a little more domestic. Our wild trip this year is we're going to stay in New York City August 29th, 30th, 31st for our first event. So that's kind of the special trip this year. But we do have an Irish guy coming in, Louis Goodman, will be a freshman. He just moved in this week. And then we'll have some international commitments announced here in November for next year. So going to still be a big part of the program. But, yeah, as far as the team, last year's team I thought was going to be very strong. I thought we had a mediocre year for the talent. Whereas this team, it looked like we were going to be a little thinner, and they are killing it all summer long. One of our guys finished top 5 at both the Carolinas Open and Amateur. We just got a lot of guys playing really well right now. So summer is a pretty good indicator of what kind of year you're going to have.
Yeah, well, back to the U.S. Amateur for a second. Are you trying to coach the guys up? Are you letting them do their own thing when they play throughout the summer? Do you guys talk about Marion specifically or just mindsets? What's all that about for prep?
It's really up to each kid, right? Some kids, like Caleb's around a lot. He's a Williamston guy, right? So him and I will chat about it. McCoy has asked about what he should prepare for as far as, he's such a good ball striker. He's going to have to do that out there because it's obviously very difficult. But, yeah, each guy kind of does their own thing. We're obviously here to support, and the more they're around, the more we see them in the summer. But I think they're bummed because I got to send the other 2 assistants out there in recruiting, but they wanted them to caddy. and they got to find their own caddies. We got too much going on here to send my staff out there for a week.
Speaking of that, I'll say in jest, Caleb Bond might be having a caddy issue because his sister was caddying for him all this summer, and she announced about a week ago she can't go to the U.S. Amateur with him. So
why?
I don't know the reason, but
good luck charm.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, she was on the bag when he won the Michigan Amateur last year, and it's just the caddies are so important. They really are. And Casey, you know all this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so much of it's a mental state, don't you think? The way they relate to each other, the way they talk to each other. It's not about pulling out clubs and raking bunkers. It's so much deeper than that.
Absolutely. I would say 99.5% of it is who do you want to hang out with and who's going to put you in the right mindset when things are going well and put you in the right mindset when things are going poorly. And obviously, I think it's a very cute thing with Caleb and his little sister. He loves it as much as he does. So he'll find somebody, though. I tell you what, anybody can caddy for that kid because he can really play some golf, and that golf course will set up very well for him.
Hey, Case, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Always, guys. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Take care.
Casey Lubon. Very quickly, Tom, can you tell our listeners about the next issue of MI Golf Journal?
Yeah, it's full of stuff. It's coming out in a couple of days. I even delayed it because of some news events, and I wanted to get some. Yeah. I wrote a goodbye Rocket Mortgage column.
Okay.
I've got 5 course reviews from courses all over the state. It was just a busy summer in that regard, so a lot of good content.
I want to give a special shout out.
Okay.
To John and Becky Duffy.
Yeah.
At Hidden River Golf and Casting.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have to get up there.
I'm going this fall, but I don't know when exactly.
Okay.
But I am going.
Okay.
I'll give you a full report.
Good. Sounds good. All right. Appreciate it. And next week we may have one of our highest profile guests.
He said he'll come, so as long as the schedules don't change. Yeah, I was yesterday at an event with Mike Tirico from Ann Arbor, who everyone knows for NFL football announcing and the Olympics, and he said he'll come on the show next week and talk about the U.S. Senior Women's Open at Barton Hills.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks so much, Tom. We will be right back on The Drive with Jack, and the plan is to talk with former Michigan State star and one of the best first basemen the National League has seen, Steve Garvey, Dodger and Padre. We'll be right back.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Meadowar Jewelers. Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull-ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. Lots going on in Major League Baseball. Very, very, very busy weekend and week. Tigers, one of the first teams to jump in with the trade of Tarek Skubal. A lot of people curious about Zaire Hope and the other Dodger prospects. And then at the last minute, last night, I guess it was yesterday afternoon, just before 6 o'clock, like 1 minute to 6, Tigers dealt Casey Mize to San Diego for 2 more prospects. So Tigers going to have a very different-looking pitching staff, and only 2.5 games out of the last wild card, 5.5 out of first place in the division, in the AL Central. So they're going to have to try to do it with a different lineup and see if they can somehow use all these rookies, all the people who they're calling on for the future. The future is now for the Detroit Tigers. And it'd be funny if they trade their 2 best starting pitchers and then they somehow make the playoffs. But that's asking a lot of Max Clark and Hao-Yu Lee and the continued excellence we have seen all year from Dylan Dingler and Kevin McGonigal. We are trying to get Steve Garvey on the line. I don't think we quite have him yet.
We left a message. I just left a message. Hopefully he'll call back here in a minute or two.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we just talked a few hours ago, so that was the plan. I think he knew exactly what the agenda was here. And he sees a lot of Dodger prospects through the course of the year, so Rob, I have to ask you a question about the Red Sox before we get Garvey on. Do you think that they're in this to win it?
Red Sox?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
have the best record in baseball in the last 2 months.
Sure. Yeah. One of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team, like you just mentioned. Most certainly all Boston pro teams are in it to win it. There's no other way to look at it, right? So this is no question, no doubt in this for the Boston Red Sox, and I know people are going to hate it, and I know, Jack, you're going to roll your eyes at me here live on YouTube, but, this has been a little bit of a drought for rightfully or wrongfully. Haven't won a World Series since 2018, and I know you don't want to hear it. There it goes, a little head tilt.
Entire
but
8
this
years.
is, but you compare this all the time, but let me finish. But for Boston media and Boston fans, rightfully or wrongfully, it's one of the most pressure-packed pro sports places in the area, and I know you don't want to hear it, but it's a fact. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I understand the Tigers haven't won in '84. I understand the Lions haven't won in forever.
How about the Yankees? They haven't
but
won
you
since
bring up the
2009.
Boston sports teams to me all the time, so this is what I'm telling you. So in that retrospect, yes, they are in it to win it.
Well, when you have won a championship 8 years after the Yankees' last championship, I wouldn't exactly call it a drought.
For Boston sports media and Boston fans, right or wrong, that's the way they're looking at it.
How long did Boston go? It was 86 years, right?
Yeah.
Without one?
Yes.
1918 to 2004?
That is correct.
So when you're talking about that length of time, I would think you don't expect to get one like every other year, right? They went 86 years without one.
Well, they would like to. I'm sure there's a lot of pro sports teams that would like to win one every other year.
Right?
Sure, yeah. But, this is unfairly, and for most Boston fans, rightfully or wrongfully, I'm going to keep repeating myself. I'm not one of those. I'm just happy I saw one in my lifetime. And that's That's the media that they live in. That's the pressure cooker that Boston has. Everybody talks about the New York pressure cooker, right, for pro sports and winning championships, right? Well, Boston's not too far from behind in that. So this is, and for a general manager that's been a little bit under the gun a little bit, for doing things a little bit differently. If you remember, Boston was right there with the Yankees and spending all the money, getting all the big time free agents to come there. Well, these last couple of seasons, they haven't really done that. They let Mookie Betts go. They've let Devers go for different reasons, but
didn't they want to let Devers go? I mean, Devers.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It was a breakup. A breakup was going to happen, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Usually they're bringing in the big time players, and they're starting to let go of players and relying more on their farm system and these young players coming up. And a lot of people in the New England area and the media aren't used to that sort of scenario. When the budget that the Red Sox and all Boston pro teams have, you can just go out and get a player. But this is not the way that the management has done that the last couple of years. So it's been a little bit of a little bit of impatience, rightfully or wrongfully. We can argue that till we're blue in the face. But this is, so again, for management, the general manager in particular, most certainly his job is always going to be a hot seat. So again, this is most certainly they got to be all in this now, and I think they proved that in this trading deadline.
You know the only Major League Baseball team that has not been to a World Series?
Tampa Bay Rays?
Nope.
When were Tampa Bay in the World Series?
A few years ago.
Were they? Oh, that's right, yeah.
Seattle Mariners.
Seattle Mariners?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very close. Never made it.
Yeah, and some of those Ken Griffey Jr. teams with Jay Buhner.
They were
and
close last year. They lost to Toronto.
Randy Johnson was in there for a while
Yeah.
doing good things. Yeah.
So, and you got A-Rod, the kid, Ken Griffey, and Randy Johnson. It's hard to find three better players in the last 30 years than those three. But that's kind of the way it goes. There are 30 teams in Major League Baseball, Rob. So theoretically, if it worked out as you would hope in averages, you should be in the World Series once. You should win a World Series once every 30 years.
Not without a salary cap, you won't.
That's true. And for the Tigers now, it's been 42 and counting.
Yeah.
So, I'm wondering if there are teams now, if we can pick 10 teams, we could make a list that will never win a World Series in the future because they'll never have the tools to compete. It's kind of like
if it stays the way it stays.
Northwestern or Rutgers ever going to win an NCAA football championship?
Yeah.
No.
Sure. What do you say all the time on the show? There's the haves.
That's right.
And the have-nots. Yeah. And half, maybe even more than half of Major League Baseball teams are the have-nots.
And in baseball, like a lot of other sports, anything but the NFL, where they have enforced parity, you have the haves and then the have-it-alls.
Yeah.
Teams like L.A., L.A. has $1.1 billion, with a B, billion dollars of deferred revenue.
Yeah. And
when I spoke with Steve Garvey earlier today, he said he would make me one guarantee, and it wasn't about Zaire Hope.
No.
It's when the $300+ million that are owed to Shohei Ohtani are finally paid, he will not be living in California because of the state tax.
Sure.
He'll be moving, maybe he'll head home to Japan.
Back to Japan, sure,
or
why not?
Maybe he'll live in Florida or some other state where they have a different way.
Well,
of
there is a problem. When there is a problem in Major League Baseball. When the Yankees management and the Red Sox management, again, teams that are used to just buying whoever they want, are bitching and complaining about how the system works.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, again, this is that tells you right there that most certainly I will be shocked, absolutely gobsmacked, if there is not a strike next year.
I've been told that at least 25 of the teams are willing to say, we don't care. We don't care if we play next year. We must fix this.
Yes.
And if it means there's no baseball, so be it. I don't know that you're going to get replacement players playing down at Jackson Field. But I think you're going to see these owners dig in to the point that there were charges of a conspiracy that the Tigers wanted to trade Skubal to L.A., not to Milwaukee or Tampa or Philadelphia
just
or anywhere
prove
else.
Just
That's
to
right.
prove.
Exactly. So that
Well,
LA
didn't you
would
say
win that,
earlier
and
in the
then it
season,
would-
like before the season even started, when everybody's hating on the Dodgers, you went the opposite way.
I
You were
did.
like, I want the Dodgers to win 120 games.
That's right.
I want them to get all the guys because that's the problem.
That's the only
or
way
part
it's gonna
of
get
the problem.
fixed. If
And it's
people are
not
so committed.
I know there's a lot of hate for the Dodgers, and I'm not a fan of the Dodgers. I really never have been a fan of the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But they're not breaking any rules.
No.
They're just
No,
doing.
they're just taking advantage of the system.
Yeah, they have the capability to do that. It's not their fault.
And they're paying a hefty luxury tax, okay, as it is.
Yeah.
Now, it's hefty to any other team. It would bust them. It won't bust the Dodgers. But I think, to get political here, but one of the tools they use is this deferred payment plan, right?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe by the time that money is there, it's worth a little bit less, but if you can go somewhere and not be taxed on it. I think the taxes should be on where you earn the money, not on where it is eventually
You don't like
paid.
the Bobby Bonilla rule?
No.
You don't like the Bobby Bonilla thing?
No. And I think if you can pay, if you're the Dodgers, can pay these guys this exorbitant amount of money for work done in L.A. That's where they work, okay? And then they take a bunch of road trips, travel. But they're based in Los Angeles. And then when they're paid, they're not living there anymore, so they don't pay California taxes.
Nope.
A lot of people think California taxes are very high or exorbitant.
Yep.
But you live somewhere else, you don't have to pay it.
Yep.
You should still have to pay it because that's where you earned it.
That's where your job was. That's where
Right.
Yes. Well, that's why, and I'm going to switch this to hockey real quick. Why do you think everybody wants to go to the Florida Panthers?
Exactly.
Or the Tampa Bay Lightning? Because they don't have that. They don't have to worry about the tax deal with their contracts, right? So it's a real thing for sure.
When you are so concerned that you are making decisions based on the amount of tax you have to pay, what is wrong with that system? I mean, I
and
know
they
it's- I know
say
it's a
they
lot of
don't,
money,
but that
you have to
it's
have
most
a lot of money.
certainly it most certainly comes into the decision. I don't know if it's the actual decision that someone makes, like, okay, this is what's going to determine me playing here, here or here. But it most certainly comes into the conversation, does it not?
Yeah, I guess it does. I just think that if you have the amount of money that most of these athletes are having, there should be some other considerations here. I was talking to someone today who said that they were going to be moving to Florida, and they lived in Illinois, and they were happy about that because they wouldn't have to pay as much money in tax, right? But Florida's raising tax revenue somehow. Trust me. They still pay their policemen. They still pay for roads. They still pay all of their legislators, government. They still pay them, right? So they get that money somewhere, whether it's a higher sales tax. Somehow they are getting revenue.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's from a corporate tax. But the person who was leaving Illinois was talking about how much tax revenue he's going to save. The Illinois state tax, the flat tax, not if you itemize all your deductions and things, right?
Okay.
Is 4.95%. So that means for you to pay $4,950 in tax, you have to make $100,000. Right? And so now you go down to Florida, you save that, but you have other things to deal with. So, I'm a bad person to talk about taxes. And if I had $30 million, it wouldn't bother me. Right?
Right.
I'd be making
It's a
my
drop
decisions
in the bucket then.
I'd be making my decisions based on a lot of other things.
Sure. Yeah.
One of them would be, where do you have a chance to win? And maybe the Tigers said, maybe
it's the
Tarek Skubal
perfect
said, "We don't have a
situation
chance."
for like the Dodgers and for the Panthers, exception of last year with all the injuries. But we know what the Florida Panthers have done, and we know what the Tampa Bay Lightning have done, and we've seen what the Dodgers have done. So it's just a perfect marriage for some people in that aspect of it.
The Dodgers are shooting at a 9-foot basket.
Yeah.
Everyone's else shooting at a 10-foot basket, or
Yep.
some teams are shooting at an 11-foot.
And again,
basket.
I'm going to reiterate, it's not their fault. They are not
they're
breaking.
just
They are
taking
not
advantage of
breaking
the
any
rules as
type
they
of
are.
rules that are in the rule book.
Well, that's why Major League Baseball is going to change the damn rule.
Well, that's not the Dodgers' fault.
Oh, I didn't say it was the Dodgers.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. Yeah, I know you didn't, but I'm just saying that's.
Call
and
Steve Garvey again, because he just called me here,
right.
and this isn't my phone, so I'm not calling him. So can you try him again, and we'll see if you can connect with him. Okay. We're going to be talking shortly with Chase Michelson of Circus Sports in Las Vegas. We'll talk with him about what's going on with the trade deadline, how that's changed odds. We'll talk to him about college football odds and the like. And then we're going to have in studio Big Jim Keaton, Keys to the City. He was wearing his Arizona State cap when I saw him today. And I wonder what the temperature is right now at Camp Tontozona, where he worked out in all the heat. Looking forward to that. And Tom Crawford is also going to be with us, talking about some exciting new things we have going. We talked about the Jack and Tom Green and Blue preview. And we also talked about something we're going to be doing on Tuesday nights with Keys to the City, hometown hangout. And we're going to be visiting a lot of Mid-Michigan communities for special remote shows. Can't wait for that. All right. I believe we have Steve with us. Attaway. Want to welcome in outstanding member of the Michigan State football and baseball teams when he was in East Lansing in the late 60s, Pride of Tampa, Florida. And then, of course, all of his time with the Dodgers, the Iron Man, and on to the San Diego Padres. And you remember the 1984 World Series. Steve, we want to get you on to talk a little bit about this Dodgers system and how amazing it is. How do they keep replenishing and getting this kind of talent when they're always picking at the end of every round?
Well, first of all, it's great to be back with you, and of course, have the audience in one of my favorite places in the world, and that's Lansing and East Lansing.
Yeah.
This is the time of the year where there's opportunity for teams to be able to take a chance on strengthening, whether it's the starting lineup, as Reyes maybe, or the bullpen, or starting pitching. And if you make smart decisions and you want to sacrifice, then you got a chance over the next 2 months to get to the playoffs, and then anything can happen. And the Dodgers, it's a millennium now that's starting to become a hedge fund, high net worth individual sports world. And the Dodgers obviously are owned by Guggenheim Partners and Mark Walters. And what they've done over the last 10 years is to systematically invest, and I call it supply-side economics in the sports world and especially in the baseball world, where if you buy a small market team, you have to realize that you're probably going to have X to be able to work with. You're going to have to manage your money very well. It's going to have to be tight. You're probably not going to be able to get premier free agents, and you're going to have to develop through the minor league system. On the other hand, if you're a hedge fund like Guggenheim Partners, you're able to put together a management infrastructure that has one goal in mind, and that's to win a world championship every year, and they'll spend whatever it takes. And Guggenheim has mastered that, and they're after a three-peat, but they're still using fundamentals. When they purchased the team from the previous owner, the minor league system was down. Their international office was literally just one person. They had good people in the minor leagues, but it was spread thin. And the team had some principles, but it needed about 5 players to be a world championship caliber team. And over the first, 3 or 4 years, they made great progress. Then in the shortened year of COVID, they won. And what they've been doing is piecing together one of the great runs of all times by a franchise.
Yeah.
And with that has come criticism because people saying, well, they can spend, they can get over whoever they want. If it comes to the deadline, they'll pick up, the best possible free agent in the off season, or potential free agent. They'll pick the number one free agent. Well, they got Tucker in the off season, got a very good hitter defensively and offensively and so forth. Now they've got a two-time Cy Young winner from Detroit and Skirble. And people are crying that, oh my gosh, it was robbery, and the Dodgers gave up nothing, and they're going to three-peat again. But in reality, it's a game played by human beings. Management can do the best they can, and then it's up to the guys in the field. Lo and behold, the Dodgers just lost, 4 or 5 in a row. They haven't had great post-All-Star summers, but what they've done is position themselves for the second half of September in the postseason. So you can hate them, you can love them, but it's just the economics of baseball in the 21st century.
Steve, I'm looking at the Dodgers now at 69-44, so 25 games over, but they do not have the best record in baseball. Actually, the Milwaukee Brewers are 69-43. They would be a half game ahead of the Dodgers. And if we know the Dodgers' advantages and brilliance, how do we explain what the Brewers are doing every year?
Well, they're using, like I mentioned in the beginning of our discussion, good fundamental organizational business. And they draft well, they develop, they get a key player here and there. The way they play the game, I like. They'll go the other way. If they need to drop down a bunt, they've got power.
They run.
They've got the monster on the mound and Mizorowski. It's a bullpen now in baseball. So you got to have 5 or 6 guys who now become household names. Where 15 years ago, you maybe knew the closer. Remember the lefty that would come in for one batter? But not anymore. They're household names.
Yeah.
And, you got to give the Dodgers credit. They had the opportunity to pick up, the greatest player in baseball, and that's Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And they invested in him, and, of course, he's paid off.
He didn't have to move very far. He just moved from
Orange
County,
he was never going any place but the Angels because of the DH, the first place. And then the whole game plan was to go 30 miles down the road to the Dodgers. And what the Dodgers have done, if you actually think that they're spending too much and how could baseball allow that? Well, they've grown the game in the Pacific Rim like never before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every night there are 3 telecasts. There's the local cable, there's the visiting cable, and then there's NHK in Japan that airs every pitcher, every game during the season. So Ohtani was also used as a intermediary to get Yamamoto and Sasaki, which, the Dodgers have 6 or 7 new sponsors now over the last 3 or 4 years that bring in significant amount of money. So other franchises now decided we got to get at least one Asian player.
Yeah.
And with that comes advertising. But if you notice, wherever the Dodgers go, and if it's a team that doesn't have an Asian player or two, there's still Japanese advertising because that's what the advertisers do in Japan. They find out where the Dodgers are going to be. They buy $50,000 to $100,000 worth of advertising when they come in. So it's great for the economics of the game. And what we're looking at, of course, is after the end of the season, the basic agreement is up, and then lo and behold, what's going to happen.
How long of a work stoppage are we liable to have?
Well, you don't have to, think about it until spring training comes around.
Yeah.
And do they, is Major League Baseball going to be adamant about being able to control investing? How much money can you spend? Is it a pure free agency like it is now? I don't think ever will the players allow anything but free agency it is now. Now, the owners, especially the commissioner who's paid by the owners, they have to decide within that fraternity of 30 men and women what they want to do. But you also have to realize that now, say over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, these new platforms have come into the revenue of the game. Yeah. And if you look at an Amazon or a Disney or Peacock, they're all paying hundreds of millions of dollars to get a game or two each week. So they're saying, wait a minute, I invested in you. You can't shut me out of my investment here. I don't want to end up with a dozen games at the end of the year. So I think Major League Baseball's got big decisions to be made. Yeah. I think the players will stay. And I was at the forefront back in 1970 of when Marvin Miller took over and created the Baseball Players Union.
Right.
And the great strides that he took from really humble beginnings of a union that really was put together to help the former players who needed rent money or some type of pension, etc., to the ultimate in sports Players Association and union.
Steve, I have to ask you a question about the Dodgers system and the players who are coming to Detroit. River Ryan and Brady Smith, the two pitchers, they've had Tommy John surgery, but they have promise. Zaire Hope seems to have more than that, even though he was not one of the Dodgers' top 3, maybe top 4 outfielders in the system. But you're high on him, and you saw him. What are the Tigers getting?
Well, they're getting a kid 5'10", about 190, 95, which I can relate to. I played at played at Michigan State at 5'10 and a half, 190 as a defensive back, taking on 300-pound pulling guards and tackles from Michigan and Ohio State.
Right.
So that's why that's why I signed in the first round out of my sophomore year. But he's got power. He's left-handed. He's got a very good personality, which is very important now. I think he'll adapt well. River Ryan. See, the Dodgers, it's not always about drafting players. They do a very good job of picking players up from other teams. Ryan's from San Diego Padres. And although he had Tommy John surgery, he, just by a hair, didn't make the starting rotation of the Dodgers, or at least getting into long relief early in the season. So he's been down in the minors. I think he'll step right in. And Brady Smith is averaging 14 strikeouts per 9 innings. And I don't care where that is. That shows you that, he's got an electric fastball, but he has a changeup that works off of it, which seems to be the key nowadays. So, stop your moaning and groaning and whining. Scorble's gone. He's going to be a free agent. Go after him again if you want to. But I
good
think
luck with that. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So, embrace these 3 guys, encourage them, and if you're the Tigers, hopefully you'll be able to get a streak going. When it's all said and done, you'll get into the playoffs, or at least have these 3 guys be good enough to make the roster and the team next year.
Steve, we don't normally do this. We don't take calls for our guests, but we've got someone here who's begging to talk with you. Big fan of yours, and it just says Flint here. Hello.
Hello.
Do you have a question for Steve Garvey?
Why would I want to talk to him when I just talked to him yesterday?
That sounds like Jim Heas.
I think it might be.
The prominent attorneys, not only in Detroit, but America, who has saved many an athlete's career who may have stepped over the line once or twice.
Was he your roommate at one point, Steve? And if
he
so,
was
how
my
did you
roommate.
survive that?
Yeah, he was. He was a hybrid roommate. He taught me how to dress and act, and I always give him a lot of credit. He might not be on the same political side as I am, but I forgive him.
That's right.
But he and Cassie came and saw us. We spent a lot of time together early this summer, and he's somebody who, as I do, loves Michigan State, loves the sports program. We're always there for a Spartan, and I thank God he's my friend.
Jim, what did you learn from Steve Garvey?
Well, I learned that he was the ultimate capitalist. He comes to Michigan State in 1966, And I'm a sophomore. He's a freshman. But we're both in Case Hall. And somebody tells him that Greek guy there, he's in shipping. So all of a sudden, Steve starts showing up in our room because he figures that somehow, my dad, my family, were involved in international shipping, that we've got super boats and ships. And then he finds out, no, I was in shipping because I worked at the docks behind Jacobson's loading packages.
Yeah, but I thought the guy said Onassis, not Hios. Those S's run together. So,
Jim, you probably got this already from talking to Steve, but he says that Tiger fans have to quit their moaning, and that these pitchers they got are legit. And Zaire Hope, he's got a big personality and maybe a game to match. You feel any better hearing that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I called him right away after the trade because I knew that, he goes down to spring training and he goes to a lot of Dodger games, so he's familiar with their farm system. So I called him right away and got the update on what these kids are like. So, yeah, since I talked to him, I feel better about the trade. Initially, I wasn't crazy about it. But, hey, they're all prospects, You just don't know. Right. And a pitcher on his next pitch, his career could end. So you just don't know. You don't know.
There was a time, we all know about John Smoltz, a Tigers prospect who went on in Hall of Fame career in Atlanta, but there was a guy with the Dodgers who went on and had a Hall of Fame career with the Pirates named Roberto Clemente. So you never know which of these guys it's going to happen for, Steve. And maybe Tigers fans will be surprised, and I just don't know what they're going to do watching Tarek Skubal pitch Game 7 of the World Series.
Speaking of Roberto Clemente,
well, like anything, you have to be thankful that you had a chance to watch him and he played for your team. He's one of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
And he could easily win another Cy Young or two. So, when it's all said and done, thankfully the Tigers had him. The Dodgers will have a chance to enjoy him now. And just maybe one or two or three of the kids that they got will have significant contributions to the Tigers for years to come. You want every trade to benefit both teams, and I think when it's all said and done, that's going to be the case with this trade.
Yeah. All right, Jim, we're going to give you the last word because you always take it anyway. So,
he's older.
Well, who for 10 years got more hits than anybody else in baseball? The same guy.
Wouldn't be number 6, would it?
The same guy has the all-time leading fielding percentage of first baseman in baseball history. The same guy has the National League record for consecutive games. And like my grandson said when I was out with him in California at Steve's house, as he's reading these, my grandson Daniel says, "Why isn't Uncle Steve in the Hall of Fame?" So, Jack, do something about it.
Well, you're his campaign manager for the Hall of Fame. You weren't his campaign manager for Senate. So see if you can do a better job, Jim. Steve, thanks so much. Really appreciate your time. Maybe we'll talk to you again from the Dodgers victory parade.
Absolutely.
How come you're not going to thank me?
I will later tonight.
I was getting to that. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, gentlemen. We have Big Jim Keaton in studio, but we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to touch base quickly with Chase Michelson out in Las Vegas at Circus Sports. I've got to get an update on what these trades mean for teams trying to win a World Series, and I'm sure he'll have some college football news for us as well. Be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back-to-school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Just minutes from Petoskey, Harbor Springs, and Mackinac City, golfers will find Northern Michigan's hidden gem on Maple River Road in Brutus, the Hidden River Golf and Casting Club and Travato Restaurant.
The course offers one of Northern Michigan's most memorable golf experiences, and Travato completes your day with exceptional dining. For tee times and dinner reservations, go to hiddenrivergolf.com.
That's hiddenrivergolf.com.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Spring is here, and so is good news for lease customers.
You got that right, Jack. Pretty exciting news, both at Nissan and Chevy. We have a lease pull ahead starting right now. So if you're bored with your lease, too many miles, close to too many miles, you just want to get out because of a high payment, bring it in. We'll get you out of your lease and get you into something more exciting.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graf of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Welcome back. It is a Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Running behind as usual, but Steve Garvey finally got with us 17 minutes after our appointment. Want to go out to Las Vegas and welcome in Chase Michelson from Circa Sports. Chase, I know you're spending a lot of time getting ready for college football season, but with the trade deadline, does this affect the odds out there at all as far as teams winning the World Series?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could probably guess the team that got the biggest bump from the trade deadline. Yeah,
wasn't the Tigers.
It was not the Tigers. It was the team that already was the favorite to win the World Series, and I think on Saturday night, right?
Yes.
Yes. We made some pretty aggressive moves. I know the Dodgers, last I checked, were minus money to win the NL. I think like minus 120 to win the NL and like plus 140-ish to win the World Series. So, it's a good team. They've been good. They're going to continue to be good. And I'm sure this has been covered by every angle on your show, obviously very locally important. But just from, I guess, a national baseball perspective, I don't have a huge issue with it. I think other teams could have traded prospects to the Tigers if they wanted to in exchange for a half season of Skubal, and they chose not to. And now they're going to cry when Skubal, wins the World Series.
It's not a half season. It's 50 games. So a third of a season, right? I mean, we are already well past the 100-game mark. But I think you made a good point the last time we were talking about this, and I don't say you made a good point that often, but we were talking. We were talking about teams that refuse to spend, and I think that, Chase, when they have this new contract, this new collective bargaining agreement, if they do have some sort of a ceiling, they have to have some sort of a floor. And teams that are getting X amount of revenue have to be willing to spend a certain percentage of that, and they have to try to be competitive. They just can't look at it as a business.
Yeah, I just don't buy the argument that the Dodgers are the existential threat to baseball. To me, the teams that are choosing to not be competitive are the threat to baseball. Now, you can say that they'll never spend on the level of the Dodgers, and that's probably true.
Yeah.
But there are other teams that are capable of winning games. Like yeah, the Dodgers might spend more, but the Mets are spending more than the Dodgers, and it's not going well.
But the Mets are exercising incompetence. The Yankees can also spend at that level, but they haven't won since 2009, right?
Right. So it's not. I don't buy the idea that. The Dodgers just buy the championships, and it's nobody else can possibly compete because the Dodgers have the most money. I guess the way I look at it is if you're going to own a team and you're going to cry about a new stadium every 20 years and ask the city to build it for you and take hundreds of millions of dollars away from things that it could spend money on to, help its citizens and stuff like that, I think you have some sort of obligation to attempt to try to be competitive.
Well, I would agree with that. But I would also say that 2/3 of the teams are in markets which put them at a distinct disadvantage. And if the National Football League is the model league, the way it is run, the health of all of the franchises, and they have a hard cap, and it seems like the players are still getting paid. I haven't seen too many of them over at the blood bank trying to get money. So if they can do that and a rising tide floats all boats with the players guaranteed a percentage, that money has got to be spent, then why is something like that so incredulous for most Major League Baseball players?
I just don't believe in the concept of a salary cap. I don't understand how that's like, I don't know what about that is like American or like should be legal. I wouldn't be very happy if the Nevada Gaming Commission instituted a salary cap and all of a sudden Circus Sports had to decide, well, even though we want to pay you more, we literally aren't allowed to. That would frustrate me.
Yeah, well,
and I understand, obviously,
quite at Ohtani levels yet, but I understand what you're saying.
No, not quite.
But I would say that college sports are getting into the same situation now, and the SAVE Act here is talking about having caps and talking about having a more level playing field so that the majority of teams don't think, well, we have no chance.
Yeah, I think, well, we talked about this a little bit. I think that, a sort of more soccer-style model, I think, would be effective in college sports. I don't know how that can be enforced legally.
Yeah.
That's beyond me. But in terms of, what I think makes the most sense, rather than putting a cap on spending, allow the institutions to benefit from, if you have a player, for example, like if you're UAB and you find Yaxel Lendeborg, and then when it's time for him to move on to a place where he can win a national championship and be a first-round pick, if Michigan pays UAB for that, which is what happens in soccer, when a guy is at a small club and wants a chance to go to a big club and make more money, they pay the small club, and that allows the small club to continue to build a roster, to build infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera. I imagine that that would have been a nice financial boon for UAB basketball.
Yeah, I think what would have been a better financial boon for UAB basketball is if they had Yaxel Lendeborg and made a long run in the NCAA tournament. And I'm not saying that teams can't compensate players. I'm not saying that players can't be compensated well above what anyone could have dreamed. I'm just saying that if you are a school X and you choose to pay Yaxel Lendeborg $10 million a year, go ahead. Just means you're going to be paying some other players less so that you have a range there that is more common to more teams.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: I don't think that before NIL that UAB basketball was going to ever be a force.
Right.
The financial realities existed before before NIL and they exist now. It's just they're more directly being given to the players. Like, we always used to joke about the idea of, like, there'd be a new locker room every 3 years because there was all this money in the athletic department that they had to spend that obviously now is being more directly given to the players. So, it's complicated, and I get why people are frustrated by the idea where they say, the same 5 teams just buy up all the players, and it's kind of like everybody else is competing in a different bracket. And that, there is truth to that. But I don't know. I think a salary cap, first of all, the whole thing with college sports being like an open season financially, like, I agree that there needs to be some kind of regulation that makes it make more sense, right? Because the pros don't have that. The pros, it's not open season. Not everybody is always a free agent at all times.
And NFL rookies or rookies in other leagues that come in, they have a 3-year contract initially, right? And these guys, they could be on their 4th team by the end of the 3rd year.
Right. So it's not, I don't want to say it's not working, but it's a system that can be improved right now. Yeah. I just think that, in general, I think the idea of capping a salary, I just don't love that, because it's not, like, if you're capping a salary, it doesn't mean that money is being redirected to, like, you're
not capping when we were talking salary, though. You're capping what a team can spend. That's the difference. I was going to ask you about college football over-unders. You did exhaustive work on that to get ready for this season. Since you posted, which teams have gotten the most action? Which ones? Is it the usual suspects? Or are there some lines here which either deliberately or just the way it all worked out really caught people's fascination?
Yeah, there were some that were deliberate, some less so. The biggest thing that we had to deal with that honestly was a challenge we've never dealt with before is the Pac-12 scheduling. So for people that don't know, there's 11 games set, and there's a 12th game that's set, but then they said they could change the opponent at any time.
Yeah.
Which is confusing. Right. I've never heard of that before. Right. The Pac-12 is kind of freestyling because they don't have enough teams.
Yeah.
So different places put up different rules. Like, some places base it on an 11-game schedule. Some places based on a 12-game schedule.
Right.
We based it on a 12-game schedule, but then based on that, positioning ourselves in the market was complicated.
Yeah.
Frankly. And there were some numbers that moved around a lot for teams like Boise State, Fresno State, Washington State. Everybody in the Pac-12 is a state. That's a good way to remember it.
That's right. It's a state conference. Yeah.
Yeah. But so that was a challenge that we've never dealt with before. As far as, like, kind of your bigger teams, Notre Dame has definitely been something where we've seen lots of two-way action on it because the number is absurd. Because the number is 11.5, but with heavy underjuice.
Yeah.
So it's basically, we're looking at Notre Dame as like a 2 to 3 game season.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got to play Miami.
Question, right?
Yeah, they got to play Miami at home. They got to play at BYU, and they play SMU at home. Nobody else is going to be within 2 touchdowns of them.
Yeah.
From a point spread perspective. So that number was really it's kind of a strange one to have a number that high, especially for a team that we think Notre Dame is going to be really good. I don't know if the power rating, like, normally when you have a team with a number that high, it's like the Georgia teams from a few years ago, or an Ohio State team that's really high powered. I think Notre Dame's power rating is probably in the range of a lot of other teams, but the schedule isn't.
Right.
So the number's really inflated. The opposite of that is Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State, whose power rating is in a similar spot to Notre Dame, or Texas, whose power rating is in a similar spot to Notre Dame, their season wins numbers are 9.5 now with overjuice, but still. Now, part of that is they have to play each other.
Yeah.
right? And
Chase,
Ohio State, Texas.
Thanks so
Tough
much.
game.
We really appreciate it. Sorry to cut you off here, but we'll go
No,
a
no
little
worries,
longer
Jack.
next week. You can blame Steve Garvey. Chase Michelson.
I'm not going to blame anybody.
Chase Michelson from Circus Sports in downtown Las Vegas. All right, we have waiting for us patiently Big Jim Keaton, host of Keys to the City, and my longtime broadcast partner, 24 and a half years, Blue Belly Tom Crawford. Gentlemen, that was a nice lunch and a great meeting we had today out at the Bluegill Grill. And Jim, you've got some big ideas, as usual, involving Keys to the City and the hometown hangout. What can you tell our listeners about what we're going to be doing on Tuesday nights?
Well, first of all, Jack, thanks for having me. I appreciate it as always. But we have a new season, if you will, for Keys to the City. We're going to highlight communities and through their high school activities. And I say activities because it's sports or whether they have debate teams or whatever. We just want to try to highlight high school activities in the area. And we've got a great slate of games. Fortunate enough that yourself and Mr. Crawford and my brother Kerry Keaton we're gonna be like the game day shows that they have on Saturday.
Is Kerry going to bring his bus to wherever?
We'll have to talk to Mr. Dean about that. I hadn't thought about that. We could be the Dean Trailways Kerry Keaton bus tour on Keys to the City.
Just have the bus decked out, right? Maybe something else.
We'll see if we can get one done. That would be good. But no, I in talking with you and Tom today, and just, we don't really have a lot of emphasis, in my opinion, on high school sports in general. And back when I grew up a long time ago, you guys had 4 or 5 writers at the State Journal that were covering sports
every Friday night, every Tuesday night for basketball. Everyone got into high school sports.
Yeah. And so we just want to.
Now it's the Brian Calloway show. And
well, I'm sure we'll probably try to get him on, or at least to get a couple things maybe as a guest picker. Because one of the things we want to do is go to each community, and I'll list off some of the games as we go on here.
Yeah.
But go to those communities, find an establishment that we can hang out in, and bring the local community there to support that local establishment. And then we have some other things that we're trying to put together that might be able to give them some incentives to show up as well, and some great deals on some products, and perhaps even some sort of a lottery. We're going to have our picks of the week, so we're going to have 5 picks, 5 games that we're looking at, and as a panel we're going to pick. And of course,
if they win, they can say they pounded the rock.
Well, I intend for them to be in second place. So I still like winning, even though I've gotten older. I still don't like to lose. So I'm rather competitive, and just bring in your expertise for over the years for knowing the different historical things that have happened at these various schools. We bring in our color commentator and Mr. Crawford, where he's got lots of a plethora of information that he wants to disseminate.
We'll get some Tom's takes out of this.
Yes.
Yeah, no question.
And then, we got my brother who's been in it for 35 years and is retired, and he's seen a lot of things and made a lot of friends and perhaps people that maybe don't like him as much either. But
he's been in it. You didn't say he stepped in it for 35 years.
Well, he stepped in it and been in it for 35 years, because anytime you're working with young people, I don't care who you are, you've put in a lot of work. You've had some L's, you've taken some L's along the way. But it's a very rewarding experience when you pour into young people and then you see them flourish and then come back, and 10, 15 years later. I was just at a wedding for a young man that played ball for me over the weekend. And, just the love that I got at the wedding, they're having a speech and they're talking about me, and I'm like, so those are the moments where you really appreciate the fact that you took care of people. And then, we got Mr. Crawford, who just, like I said,
This Mr. Crawford stuff. This Mr. Crawford was his dad.
Well, but Mr. Crawford went to Eastern. He was older than me, and I grew up at a time where I like to respect my elders and give homage to them when I need to. And plus I need him to do a few things for me, so I want to make sure he's showing, he sees that I respect him in all that he does.
Blue Belly Tom, I want to bring you in here and ask you what the highlight of our meeting was today, besides that All-America burger you had.
Yeah, and Jimmy said it best. I mean, you go back 4 or 5 decades, there was a lot of coverage of high school football, and the Saturday Morning State Journal was something what you just went to. Yeah. You got everything. Yeah. I was a stringer on that stat when you were there as a writer, Jack, and there's a void I think we're filling, a void that's worthy filling, and there's a lot of great high school football communities around here, and we're going to embrace them and celebrate them.
Tom, when Jim hit us with some of these ideas and places, games that we could go to, we started by selecting some communities we wanted to be in and teams that had followings that we thought would really appreciate these hometown hangouts. And I think we did a pretty good job of mixing it up and getting from the heart of Lansing out to some of the most passionate communities enjoy high school football.
Yeah, and in those communities that I've been to games with you oftentimes, I'm looking at the student section, I'm looking at the entire crowd. They're showing up early and often, and they're engaged in the game, and that truly is a throwback to many, many years ago.
So, Jim, talk about how this is going to work. These are going to be on Tuesday nights, right?
Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 8.
We're going to have 9 for the regular season and then playoff as well. But for 9 weeks, we're going to be in different communities, in popular establishments.
In those cities.
We expect to have turnouts from fans, obviously coaches, players, administrators, movers and shakers in the community. And we're going to really be focusing on what makes those situations special.
Right. I think the biggest thing is, in today's society, we're so fragmented with all the things that are going on in the world, and justifiably so. Yeah. But I want to focus on the good things, and I want to focus on communities that get behind their people, and schools that take pride in everything that they do. We're going to start off with the Lansing City Schools. I'm pretty excited about Coach Bogan being over at Eastern this year and hopefully getting things turned around for them. And then Everett starts off with Sexton. So we're going to highlight those 3 schools in our first week, the weekend of August the 25th.
And we will let you know where we're going to be. You won't have to guess. We're going to let you know many ways where you can find us each week.
And then, we're going to go to communities like Mason and Hazlitt and East Lansing, Williamston. And then we have a really big one out that we're going to combine, like we're doing the city of Lansing. We're going to combine PW and Fowler so that we have a big, for that big game, I think that's week 5 or 6.
That game means a lot because they're playing against their relatives at the time, right? It's like the Keaton family game.
I think they're 8 miles separates the 2 schools, and so that'll be big. I'm looking forward to going out there. I got family in Pewamo, so I'm looking forward to seeing them out there. And we'll have Grand Ledge and DeWitt. We'll be out in DeWitt, and then the last game of the year is one that I'm really excited about because it should be a precursor to perhaps something that's going to happen later on in the playoffs, and we'll be in Portland, and they'll be playing
Hudsonville, Unity Christian.
So
it's a playoff game.
It could be. And sort of seeding and all those kind of things. And as you know, those folks out in Portland are really passionate about what they do. And so we're really looking forward just to focusing on the community that we go to, the establishment that we're going to be going to in that community. We're going to be talking to administrators and coaches and players and friends that we have in those areas to find the right spot and just have a really good time celebrating but also prepping everybody to get ready for that game on Friday night,
Yeah.
And we're going to spotlight if they have like the soccer team, the boys soccer team, or if the girls volleyball team is really good. We want to take
you know what
that
community is all about, right? So you understand it, and then you get to know the players, coaches a little bit better. Tom, is there anything that you are particularly excited about with this package other than watching Kerry Keaton interview Rob Zimmerman?
I hope that's not part of the package. No, I mean, just going to places that I haven't gone recently. I mean, we were doing radio remotes years ago. I remember going out in Portland and just getting out in those, because there is true passion out there, and we're long over for doing that and getting out. And I'm not just going to be going to East Lansing games on Friday night. I want to go to other venues as well.
Tom, we should also remind our listeners and our viewers here on YouTube about the Jack and Tom Green and Blue preview and the review we're going to have on Thursday nights, getting ready for the games and talking about both teams, what the challenges are. And then there are going to be several weeks where we have split podcasts, one after a Michigan game, one after a Michigan State game, and sometimes they play on different days or different times. When we have to put them together, we can do that too. But we're really excited about that all season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're roughly about, 30, this is August 4th. What happens on September 4th? Michigan State opens. So, 30 days of anticipation. And then 3 weeks from tonight will be our high school.
That's right.
Podcast. And once you get into August, man, you start getting the football vibe, and I'm feeling it right now, and I can't wait for both of those endeavors.
Yeah. Football season for Tom Crawford starts January 1st and ends on December 31st. And Jim, when you're here in mid-Michigan now, and it's in the low 80s, right, and you see players starting, do you have painful flashbacks to Camp Tonazona and the mountain and all the things that you had to do? You weren't really with Frank Kush, though. So
no, but his legacy lived on.
Yeah,
there was when I get I got to say, when I get to mid-May,
yeah,
because I played baseball too.
Yes,
and it was cold in April, and I didn't like playing baseball. And I've told you this about Major League teams.
That's right.
It's no fun until it gets warm.
Right.
And then when it gets warm and you're playing baseball typically for me ran until August 31st.
Right.
And it was difficult because football season usually started around August the 15th. So I would be playing in a national championship tournament somewhere in baseball, but I'm working out in between games and before games, knowing that when I get back, I got to play high school football.
Right.
And
you also played baseball and football for the Sun Devils.
Right, but that was two different seasons. That was fall and spring. So that was a lot. I didn't get to play fall ball, obviously, because, back then we played 100 games a year in college. It was like being in the major leagues because, obviously, times were a lot different back then.
Right.
But having to do both at the same time was a bit of a struggle. But like Tom said, once August hits, you start to smell the grass and, getting your water bottles ready and like, I can't wait to get out here. And when it comes around now, I feel the energy. I feel, as Tom says, I feel the juice of fall and football and looking forward to putting my hands on somebody, and
in a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah. Tom, I must have had Jim tell me 10 times this year, it doesn't start until it gets warm. So, I was trying to forget what the Tigers did with that 6-22 record in May. And then since June 1st, here they have the third best record in baseball, but it did matter what happened in May because of that, Tarek Skubal is now a Dodger and Casey Mize is a Padre because of what happened before it got warm.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? But I've been revisiting and talking to a lot of people about what just happened in the last 3 days, and I think there's a lot of hope for the future. There's a lot of young talent on this team. Kevin McGonigal is the centerpiece of that. So I think Tiger fans should just stay in there and see what this year brings, and then next year might be even better in the long run.
All right, was that a pun when you said there's a lot of hope for the Tigers? You're not talking about Zaire, right? Zaire
Hope. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
The punster himself, Jack Ebling.
Well, I want to remind everyone that the Jack and Tom Green and Blue previews will be Thursday nights throughout football season, and then we're going to have the Green and Blue reviews after the games. But the big news today is hometown hangouts every Tuesday night, and the first one, Jimmy, is what?
It's going to be August the 25th, 3 weeks from today. We've got a couple of locations that we're in conversations with to see who would be willing to host us, and we're trying to have it kind of a central location if we can, because we're going to highlight all three of the Lansing schools. So perhaps that was one of them calling us back. I don't know. But we want to have a really, really big Lansing turnout.
Yes.
And we want everybody from every school, whether they be cheerleaders, administrators, coaches, ADs, to come and support the kids, because really what we want to make this
show
about.
Turn out for your community.
And let them know that you support them. You like what they're doing and appreciate the effort that they're putting in, and as well as those coaches. We want to give big shouts out. So I thank you, and I thank Tom, I thank Carrie for hanging out with a crazy little chubby dude from Lansing who just likes to talk about high school kids and try to bring them along and let them know that they walk the same halls that we did.
Yeah.
And they have the same opportunities, and just encourage them to be the best that they can possibly be.
And some of our listeners are going to have favorite places, their hangouts that they're going to want us to visit, and we'll try to make that happen too. I want to thank all of our guests today, Rob, starting with Gary Gillette, baseball writer, editor, sabermetrician, historian, researcher, you name it, talking about the trade deadline and everything else going on in MLB. Tom Lang for another episode of The Long Drive, brought to you by Hidden River Golf and Casting up in Brutus, Michigan. Appreciate Casey Luban joining us, talking about the U.S. Amateur, and also a review of everything that happened here in 8 years of the Rocket Classic going away now. I want to thank Steve Garvey for joining us. Better late than never. Checking in from Southern California. Jim Heas, his college roommate, surprising him a little bit. Chase Michelson from Circus Sports in downtown Las Vegas. Big Jim Keaton, Keys to the City, and Bluebelly Tom Crawford. Have a great night, everyone.